Welcome to ASHLEE Marie. Today I'm going to show you guys how I use a stencil that I made, and I use it with royal icing to create this beautiful white beading against a cake. It's a really easy technique. I've used it for multiple cakes in the past. It's always fun and it's super easy, so let's get started. Now you're going to take your stencil and you're going to put it against your cake, and then you put the royal icing on top of it and peel it off. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. But if your royal icing is too thick, when you pull it away, it's going to leave these sharp little edges, and it's kind of a pain to try to go down and get rid of all those. You can, but it's a lot easier if your royal icing is the correct consistency to begin with. So royal icing originally is really thick. It's to make those beautiful royal icing flowers and roses. You want it stiff so it holds those petals up. You don't want droopy roses. Anyway, for cookies, we thin it down. If you saw my chalkboard cookie video, you saw we thinned it down called color flow so that it kind of flows into itself, and as you pipe it, it just smooths itself out mostly. And that's what we want to do for this, so that when we spread it onto the stencil and then take the stencil off, it kind of bubbles up instead of gets all spiky from being too thick. So just like the cookies, the right consistency is you just add a little water at a time. It's way easy to go overboard. So seriously, better to take your time, little water at a time, go slowly. So I'm gonna ribbon this over and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you see how it's almost completely disappeared? That's the right texture, that's what we want. This is gonna be beautiful. Now you can buy stencils or you can make stencils. There is a whole array of cake stencils out there for you to use, but they're very limited by, of course, what's already out there. Now, in this case, the bride wanted just some royal icing beading on this pink cake. So I have 2 layers of cake, an 8-inch and a 12-inch. Now I wanted the little swags. I wanted the royal icing swags to line up. It really drives me nuts when you'll have 2 pretty swags up here, and then down here it's wah, 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 and they don't match up, and they're uneven, and they match up once and they don't match up the rest of the cake. It drives me batty. So I like to create my own stencils so that I can make the same amount of swag on both the top and the bottom, or whatever other design I'm doing, damask or any other beading. In this case, there's going to be 8 of these beadings around the bottom and then 8 on the top. So they'll be narrower on the top, but they'll line up with what's on the bottom, and it'll do that the entire way around the cake. That way there's no front, there's no one angle. You can take a picture of this cake and it will look beautiful on every side. So to create my own, the first thing that I do is once the cake is covered in fondant, I take measuring tape around and I measure it. So this one is 40 inches. So then you take that 40 inches and you divide it by the number of whatever repeating pattern that you want. In this case, I wanted 8. So I take 40 divided by 8, and then I got the width that I needed. So then I went to to Photoshop, and I measured out that width, and then I created a basic design that I want. Now notice these have all kind of gone wonky and they're not perfect, but it gave me a base idea for what I wanted to do. So then I created, here's the wide one. You can see I got 2 in this distance. And here are the smaller, narrow ones. You can see I got 3. So there's going to be 8 of these across the top, and they're going to line up with these. Now, I put them on the same piece of plastic just to save myself some time and money, but I'm only going to use 1 on 1. So this one's going to go on this one, and I'm going to flip it over, and then it's going to be on this other one. So I have my royal icing all made up, and notice I keep plastic wrap on it. If you don't keep plastic wrap, then the top is going to get crusty, and then if you accidentally stir that in, then you're going to get bits of crusty stuff and it won't be smooth. It's just awful. Always, as soon as you're done mixing your royal icing, put the cover right on it. So I'm going to pull this away for just a minute, and we're going to do a practice run. Now I want to practice here on something dark to make sure that the texture is correct, because if it's too thick, now's the time to make it runny. So hold it in place and just put a thin amount of this. This is also kind of good practice for the technique that you're going to use to put on the cake. Make sure that I get those little parts on the bottom. But you also want to work kind of quickly because royal icing does dry fast. And so there. So it looks like I have the same thickness. And I'm going to take this and peel it up. And you can see that because this is wet enough, instead of becoming points, these actually went and turned into nice little balls, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want. Now, if I went and I stuck this dirty stencil on there, it would actually make a huge mess. So you want to make sure that you clean your stencils in between every time. I know that it takes an extra couple of seconds, and that when you're in a hurry, as I often am when I'm making a cake, it's tempting to be like, oh, I can be careful, I can do it. I promise you, every time I have said those words to myself, it has ended in like disaster. Instead of this taking a couple seconds to clean and then moving on with the next step, I end up creating so much more work for myself. It probably triples the amount of work that I have to do. So it's totally worth doing it right. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I only have 2 hands. And as you saw from the practice, I used one hand to hold the stencil and then one hand to spread the frosting on. And then I still held the stencil while I peeled the stencil off. Well, doing it flat is a lot easier than doing it, vertically across the cake. So I need a little bit of help. I need 2 extra hands. I need someone to take this stencil and hold it into place so that I can do my work. And I need it held kind of taut. Now, it would take one of me to do this and then somebody else spreading. And hey, if I had another baker around, that would be great, but I cannot trust my kids with this job. So I'm gonna show you the trick that I use with stencils. Now, if you saw my Descendants cake, then you saw I used pins. In that case, the design was really big and full and there wasn't really another way to hold it on the cake. Pins aren't ideal because they don't really hold it flat, especially with this thicker plastic that I use. So I'm using a self-adhesive Ace bandage, and it's awesome. Now, as you can also see, I've actually already done 2 sides. I did one set over here and one set over here, and then I let them dry completely because you can't just take it away, do the next one, take it to the next one. You'll just ruin what you've already done. So these have actually sat for a couple hours and they are nice and hard, and it's gonna be great. So now I'm gonna match up. Now I pre-measured before I made both of these, so this should match up really nicely. So you can see the old holes, new holes. Holding, like I said, this self-adhesive one, so holding it kind of tight, I'm gonna wrap it around 1.5 times, and that's gonna self-adhere to itself and hold it into place. Now, and I'm going to start right here. And you want to kind of try to keep it even, otherwise you'll get different heights of your bumps. Come on. Just trying to fill in this one little hole. There we go. Over here, fill in this one little hole. There we go. And now holding that plastic in place still, I'm gonna unwrap this bandage and then I'm gonna be able to peel this away. And there we go. If your frosting was a little bit too stiff and it doesn't just immediately go into these beautiful beads, you can take a brush and get it a little bit wet and just take that and poke in any points that you might have. Just takes a second. There we go. And we're done. You can see how beautifully this turned out. There's 8 swags. They look great. I'm gonna repeat that over here. We're gonna get 8 swags there as well. So when I stack them, they're gonna match up perfectly. I'll take my camera with me to delivery and show you guys a little bit of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this cake tutorial. If you want to see more cake tutorials, don't forget to let me know. Leave me a comment. If you guys want to see a tutorial on how I make my own stencils, I'd be happy to do that. I want to make sure I'm making what you guys want to see. So talk to me. Thanks for watching.